Okay, I'm gonna make a couple videos of graphing tangent. I'm gonna make them this way instead of the way I have been making them. This seemed to work pretty well for the live videos. Also, it's raining and I can't really set up my other one anyway. So here we go. Okay, so just remember for tangent, you guys are setting up and doing it the exact same way that we've been doing everything else, right? So your A is 1, okay? Our K value is 2. All right, big difference here, period. Just remember that for tangent, your period is pi over K. So in this case, it's pi over 2, right? Which will be pi over 2. Your increments, remember you're taking whatever that is and you're dividing it by 4. Or multiplying by 1/4. Okay, your phase shift. Again, it is not just whatever this is. You have to divide by K. If you don't, it is wrong. Okay, so it's pi over 2 or pi over 4 divided by 2 or times 1/2. Okay, that would give you pi over 8. And you're going right. Okay, and our vertical shift is a +1. Okay. If you guys aren't doing this, okay, and some of you are, some of you aren't, do a chart. Makes it easier. And then you don't have to worry about did you or your points wrong, whatever. Plus it's easier for me to grade. I know exactly what points are supposed to be where. Okay. All right. I'm going to write it down here. And remember, we talked about this in the live sessions, but if you didn't see that yet, I also talked about it in previous things. Write out two complete rotations or 2 complete periods of the parent function, right? That's going to make it easier when you go to do graphing, and I'll talk about that in a second. Okay, but we're starting at pi over 8. Okay, always start when you go to use your parent function points. If you write out 2, start in the middle. Okay, and we're starting here at pi over 8. All right, and then you're going to plug in the 0. Remember, that gets plugged into all of this. Replaces this whole part. So that would be 0 plus 1 gives you 1, right? At pi over 4, which would be your next one. I probably should have done those first, but we'll do them in a second. Okay, that would be 1 plus 1, which is 2. At 3 pi over 8, that would give you undefined. And at 4 pi over 8 or pi over 2, that's going to give you -1 plus 1 will give you 0, right? You can keep going if you want, right? So let's plot these out and label this so we can see it. Make sure you guys are using your increments when you graph, okay? You guys do a decent job of calculating it over here, but then you don't always use it when you do this. So whatever this is, that's what you count by on when you're labeling. Okay. All right, now, so at pi over 8, we are at 1. At pi over 4, we're at 2. And at 3 pi over 8, we're undefined. Okay, and then at pi over 2, we're at 0. Okay, one of the things we talk about in the live sessions is if you guys want to keep going with and plotting more points to the right, because it's easier for you to follow that pattern and then use that to go backwards, do it. Okay, you don't have to though. But sometimes people like to do that and they go, okay, well, if I plug in my next one, I did 0, I did 1, I did undefined, I did -1, my next one's at 0. So that would be at 2. Okay, and that gives you an entire period to follow backwards. If you like that. Otherwise, use this. And this is why I wrote out 2, because you started here and went to the right. Now go left to do the rest of it. So when you go to find the point at 0, this is where you started, that's this point. So -1 would be where 0 is, right? And -1 plus 1 would give you 0, right? And then you're undefined. And then you're at 2. And then 1. And then 0. Okay, and then your graph is gonna look like that. Okay, and that's pretty much it.